G'day throttlers and welcome back to the channel. Now today you're joining me up at Gosford on the foreshore here. You might be able to hear the seagulls squirking away. The boat ramp's just over there, but more importantly just behind me here is the brand new Mazda 3. Now this is the 2019 version and there has been quite a few changes to this. Not so much on an engineering point of view, but definitely on an architectural point of view. Now it has had an increased size on its C-pillar. It gives it a little bit more of a muscular look and feel, but has that taken away from anything on the inside of the car or changed any of the driving dynamics of the Mazda 3? Well, we're about to find out. So come along with me as I test drive and review the new Mazda 3 hatchback. Alright folks, well I might have very well found the noisiest location to do a walk around of this Mazda 3, but it's where we are now. Hopefully it's not too windy on the microphone and you're able to hear me okay. So starting at the front of the new Mazda 3, there's a much more aggressive look to the Mazda 3, which I really love. They've taken away a little bit of the unnecessary chrome. There's a lot more black trim, which I think looks really nice. The grille looks a little bit larger. Coming around the right hand side you can see into the lighting fixtures. Coming down the right hand side, and essentially it's still very recognisable as a Mazda 3. There's no denying that. But the big thing that's changed from a styling point of view, let's take a couple of steps back. You can see the C-pillar over here. The C-pillar has become more bulky, which actually makes the car look a bit more aggressive, maybe even a little bit SUV-like. But there is a bit of a trade-off, and we'll talk about that as we go around the car. But let's keep going around. The wheels look pretty much the same. There's a nice little black spoiler up the top here. Just a different colour to the body colour. Certainly makes it look quite nice. Coming around, the rear diffuser down the bottom is all blacked out. Twin exhaust pipes, of course. And coming into the rear tail light fixtures, you can see the LEDs in there. Very nice. Alright, everything in the cabin's really quite good. In fact, I think this is an improvement on the previous generation of Mazda 3. In fact, it's just a simpler layout. The dash in there, if you can see, you've got a tacho on the left. In the middle, we've got a speedo, digital speedo. On the right, you've got your temperature and your fuel levels. The steering wheel, we've got all the controls that you normally have on all the steering wheels for Bluetooth, Bluetooth telephone, stereo up and down, cruise control on the right hand side. Down the right of the car we've got all of our normal window settings and also the preset seat settings here and your iStop on and off. The exciting thing about the new Mazda 3 is this new screen on the dashboard. It's longer, it's sleeker, and it's not a touch screen. I hate seeing fingerprints all over touch screens, so now the main control is down here. You've got the big control dial, the home button, the return button, navigation and music, entertainment, volume over here, and electronic park brake and hill hold, and also you've got a sport switch here so you can switch it over into sport. Now this one is the automatic, but if you switch over into the manual setting, you also get to use these paddle shifters on either side of the steering wheel. So although it's an automatic, it gives you a nice little bit of control over what gear you're in at the time. Also along the main dash here, there's a bit of sun reflection there. Let's try and block it out. You've got your air conditioning control, your hazard lights, heated seats, not seated heats, and also your engine start stop button now. Alright, now I've jumped into the back seat of this Mazda 3 and although it looks small, and I was actually going to say in this review that we've sacrificed a lot of space in the Mazda 3, and I certainly think it's true. I think we have reduced the space in the back of the Mazda 3, but it's still okay. I'm 5'10", and I've got probably 1.5 inches above my head there with more space. I'm nowhere near touching the roof. If you were 6 foot or above, I'm thinking you might be touching the roof, but if you're under 6 foot, I think it's quite comfortable. Now, I'm also sat right behind where I have set up the driver's seat to sit. So looking at my leg space, my knees are just touching the chair in front, but there is a nice little indentation here that gives you a little bit of extra leg room, and I'm actually not uncomfortable here, and I thought that I would be. So that's something to consider. If you're moving big humans in the back seat, make sure you test out the back seat. If you're moving little humans in the back seat, kids, small families, there's plenty of room in here. The armrest is really comfy as well. 2 drink holders, and there's also air conditioning vents in the back as well. So you get plenty of airflow right into the back seat. I think this is a 4.5 seater, definitely not a 5 seater. Definitely not enough space for 3 adults in the back, but certainly 2 adults and a little kid would easily sit in the back seat here, no problems at all. Alright, here we are cruising along in the 2019 Mazda 3. And I must say, Mazda always nail the comfort. I've always loved Mazda 3s. We currently own a 2017 CX-5 GT, so I am a bit of a Mazda fanboy. I can certainly see the benefit that Mazda create. They create very comfortable cars, very drivable cars, and all for the right money. Like, it's amazing what they put into these cars, considering the level of luxury for the small amount of money that they're actually charging us to buy this. Now, talking about the new Mazda 3, it's going to come in 5 different models. Now, it's coming in the Pure, the Evolve, the Touring, the GT, and the top of the range is the Mazda Astina. Now, amongst all of those 5 models, there's going to be 3 engine choices, but currently there's only 2. So currently you can choose from the 2 litre, which is 114 kilowatts and 200 Newton meters of torque. Or, my personal preference, you could choose the 2.5 litre, which is 139 kilowatts and 252 Newton meters of torque. So quite a bit more powerful and torquey as well. Now, later in the year, the Skyactiv-X engine will be arriving in Australia, and it's said to have the torque of a diesel and the efficiency of a diesel, but still the speed and the high revving nature of a standard petrol engine. So theoretically it's the best of both worlds. So it'd be really interesting to see what happens when the Skyactiv-X comes out. So the entry price for the latest model Mazda 3 is around about the $25,000 mark, give or take. And that price will go up to the top of the range Astina around about $38,000. So at the top end, you're pushing up into another category of car. But for me personally, I think it's worth it. The Mazda Astina, speaking from experience with our GT CX-5, it's been exceptional. It's exceptional touring, it's exceptional around town, it's so comfortable, it feels like you're in a far more expensive brand of car, and I think these Mazda 3s do exactly the same thing. Mazda, I think they're absolutely nailing the product. Yes, in the performance world, people are wanting turbos and they're wanting some more power out of their Mazdas, especially the MX-5 range. But what they're doing is doing the naturally aspirated engines very, very well. And credit to Mazda for sticking to what they love and what they want to do. Now, from a tech point of view, if you watch my channel, you know I'm not a super tech guy, but we do have radar cruise control in the Mazda 3s, lane keep assist, lane departure warning and also forward obstruction warning. So from a tech point of view and a safety point of view, again, Mazda is absolutely nailing the options that they're putting into these cars, and all for a really, really good price. Now, this is a white car you've seen in the video already and the pictures. There is a bit of a pearl in the white, but if you're looking at one of the real strong metallic paints, like the red that really pops, I'm going to pop a photo of the red car up right now, because I think it looks absolutely amazing. It's an extra $495 for the metallic colors, and to be honest, that's the same across any car you ever buy, so that's nothing abnormal at all. So this being an automatic, all of these engine varieties are going to be available in an automatic and a manual. And again, a lot of modern cars are just leaning towards automatic only, but Mazda do understand that there's enthusiasts out there that love a manual gearbox, and you have an option with all of these Mazda 3s, which again, good on you, Mazda. I think that's absolutely awesome. Now, this automatic gearbox is just a standard automatic. It's not a dual clutch, but if you put it into sport mode, and then you have control with the paddle shifters on the steering wheel. So you have control to bring your gears up and down. So it gives you a little bit of the feel of what you would have if you had a manual gearbox. And personally, I like it. I know they do this in the MX-5 as well. And the MX-5 that I test drove a couple of years ago now for the same company, Gosford Mazda, it had the same thing, and it was really quite doable. Again, in an MX-5, I think the manual is the optimum choice, but you know, if you're like me and you have a wife that can't drive a manual, this is a really good compromise. So Central Coast Mazda up at Gosford have very kindly lent me this car, and I haven't had it for too long. I'm taking it back after about an hour and a half, only because at the moment they only have one demo car available, and they need to have the ability to, if anyone comes in to test ride, to have this car there. So I didn't get a whole day in the car like I normally do, but still I'm quite comfortable and confident in recommending this car even after driving it for an hour and a half. It's awesome. It's a great car, and yes, I would spend money on this car without a doubt. And in fact, we're looking at doing an upgrade of our CX-5 next year, and this might even be an option as well. What are the downsides to this model Mazda 3? Well, the downsides are the boot space has reduced a little bit. It's not as deep as it was, and again, because they're trying to maximize space, it's got a space saver spare tire. And I know that's what everyone does now, and even some sports cars don't even have spare tires anymore. They just have a puncture repair kit and a spray can. But I really love a full-size spare tire. But I do a lot of distance driving as well, and I wouldn't want to be stuck up here and then have to drive on the freeway all the way back to Sydney with a space saver spare tire on. They serve a purpose, and they certainly enable you to continue on with a flat tire until you get somewhere where you can do a repair. But if there's an option to lose a little bit of space and put a bigger spare tire in, that's what I'd probably do. Now, if you're in the market for any Mazda at all, make sure that you give Central Coast Mazda a call up here at Gosford. All of their details are going to be on the screen right now, and they'll also be in the description below. But make sure you give them a call, book in for your test drive. The team here at Gosford Mazda are so friendly. This morning I was in there and they're all very, very happy, very friendly. And to be honest, I spend a lot of time in dealerships for both cars and motorcycles, and there are a lot of grumpy people out there. But the crew here at Mazda Gosford are very vibrant, very happy. So make sure you pop in, test drive any one of their Mazdas, give them a call to book in the test drive, and you won't regret it. This Mazda 3 is amazing. I really like it. I'd buy it. In fact, I may even buy one in the near future. As always, folks, thanks for watching Throttle Down Under. If you're interested in car and bike reviews, any sort of motoring event, and interviews about crazy motoring people, make sure you hit subscribe. Give me a thumbs up if you've enjoyed this video, and please share to anyone who you think may be interested in what we've got to offer here on Throttle Downunder, and check out many of our other videos that we've launched previously. Thanks again for watching, folks. Until next time, throttle on.
Like a bird on a tree, I'm just sitting